Hi everybody, this is your weekly horoscope for Monday the 5th of February going through until Sunday the 11th of February 2018. Thank you for joining me. It's really a pleasure to be able to do this weekly horoscope for you. I've had a look at what's going on this week in terms of the astrology, how it's going to affect you and how you can make the most of this energy. So I'm going to give you a day-by-day rundown. I do have to say though, it is a challenging week. So there's lots of potential to progress as a person and to grow and to develop because the universe is going to throw you a couple of curveballs this week. So let's start with Monday, the 5th of Feb. We've got the moon in Libra. So the moon again is very much how you feel, and it's the most sensitive part of who you are and what's going on. In Libra, it's focused on other people. It's focused on building bridges. And if you look at the glyph of Libra, it's like a bridge with a speed bump in it. So Libras are very good at overcoming those bumps in the road when it comes to relationships with others and to create a sense of community. It's also very creative and very much about expressing yourself in a way that's eloquent and articulate and likable and palatable to other people. So that opposes Uranus and Aries. That's the opposite. That's me, what I want, what I need, and what I wanted yesterday. So it's impatient, it's selfish, it's focused on getting what it wants, and it's not interested in speed bumps, it just bulldozes through them. Okay, so we've got those two forming an opposition, so that means they're 180 degrees away from each other, so they're in direct conflict with each other. The moon then also squares Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto is the planet of transformation and change, and in Capricorn it's in Earth, so there's really the potential to make changes. So on Monday you may find that you have conflict with other people, but that conflict is something useful in the sense that it leads to positive change. So if there is upheaval and you don't see eye to eye with other people, it's there for a reason. Don't immediately shy back from it and say, oh, I don't do conflict, which a lot of people say, I don't do conflict. Conflict is useful because without conflict, we'd never get anything done. Conflict is required to get things to change. So if you totally disagree and back off and never engage in any conflict, you're not going to get a lot done. And often the decision not to get involved with conflict causes conflict in itself anyway, so it's a lose-lose situation. So if you are someone who is sensitive, and who doesn't like to get into it with other people, have a look at what you're thinking about and whether your viewpoint has actual merit before you back down, and don't automatically back down without kind of evaluating your way of doing things and your way of looking at things. Because ultimately, if you're in a company and you have an idea that makes the work more effective, but everyone says, well, we've done it like this for 10 years, it would be a pain to make changes even though it's more effective, we'd rather just keep things as they are, mend and make do, as they say here in the UK, then you're coming up against conflict, but really those people who are standing in your way are really making things worse for a lot of people who are working in that company and the future of that company. So sometimes you have to put your foot down and say, I see a better way of doing things, and I'm going to stand up for that, and I'm going to try and implement that. And Monday is one of those days where you can really have a positive effect on the world and on people in your life and around you. Now, on Tuesday, the 6th of February, we've got the moon going into Scorpio at 3:58 in the morning. And remember that my horoscopes are based on UK time. So if you're on the east coast of the States, then subtract 5 hours. So this would be 10:58 p.m. on Monday night. If you're on the west coast, subtract 8 hours. So that would be 7:58 p.m. If you're in Dubai or in the Middle East, in Israel, or in the Far East, then add a certain amount of hours, I think it's 3 or 4, and then if you're in Australia or New Zealand, add 10 or 12 hours, okay? But again, I've said this before as well, that when the moon goes into a different sign, so when it goes into Scorpio 3:58, it's not like, ding, I feel differently. It's a gradual organic change. So like if you have a full moon, the days before and the days after, you'll start to feel the build up and the winding down. It's not just this minute by minute thing. It's organic and it's gradual. And astrology is based on the seasons, and they have a natural rhythm anyway. So on Tuesday, the moon does go into Scorpio. The Scorpio moon then squares Mercury, the communication planet, which is in Aquarius. So the communication planet is really concerned with the greater good, being a humanitarian and thinking about other people. And we've had that on Monday as well to a certain extent. So there is an element of what can we do here which affects all of us and humanity as a whole. So your needs, your desires, your selfish kind of what I want, what I need, what I want to get for myself, that isn't really so important to the universe this week. So you might be a little bit miffed at that. Venus is also in Aquarius, so the planet, even the planet of love and beauty and creativity, is about being of service to humanity, and that sextiles Uranus in Aries. Uranus is that selfish drive to get things the way you want. So the way this looks on Tuesday is that you'll have a real knack for emotional detective work with that moon in Scorpio, and you'll really be interested in getting to the truth of a situation. Finding this truth will allow you to let go of negative behaviors, so if you're looking at that within yourself, or faulty thinking, and will allow you to love more openly and without fear of rejection or of being hurt, and it will also allow you to love humanity more as a whole, and that can be hard to do. You know, if you look around, and if you've been around for 30, 40, 50 years, you'll understand that a lot of people don't necessarily make a positive contribution, nor are they interested in making a positive contribution. So you can't, by the time you get to 50, you can't go around and say, I love everybody and everybody loves me and peace and love and everything is so wonderful, unless you're slightly deluded. What you have to do is you have to realize that, yes, okay, certain people aren't interested in the greater good, but you are, and you want to make a positive contribution, and that's the only thing you have control over. And the more people who make a positive contribution and who do love the world and who aren't afraid of being hurt in the process will make this world a better place. So we've all got to sometimes take the rejection and the pain that comes with that, but continue to have our hearts open and to try and make a positive contribution. If everyone did that on planet Earth, this planet would look very differently. So Tuesday is really an opportunity to open up and to understand. It's better to do the emotional detective work in yourself than in other people. Because if you do it with other people and you look at another person, especially if they haven't asked for it, and you say, do you know what, I think your problem is that you're still holding on to your childhood resentment and your feelings of being not good enough, and that's why you don't do well in your career. That person isn't going to turn around and say, oh, thank you so much for that wonderful insight, now everything changes. They'll be like, who do you think you are telling me that? If they're asking you for your advice, then that's a different thing. But just offering it on an unsolicited basis usually doesn't go down very well for you. So you do have this ability to get to the truth. If you do it within yourself, you do the inner stock take, the inner inventory, you'll be able to love more openly and to help others. So channel that energy in a constructive way. On Wednesday the 7th, we've got the last quarter moon at 3:55 in the afternoon. And the last quarter moon is just basically the pit stop from the full moon to the new moon. So the moon is a half when you look up at the sky, and it's slowing down, it's waning. So things are kind of slowing, you can chill a little bit, things don't feel as intense, things feel like they're coming to a gentle little rest stop before the moon goes totally black. So the last quarter moon is in Scorpio. It squares Venus in Aquarius, this love for humanity. And it also conjuncts Jupiter in Scorpio, Jupiter being the lucky planet, and Scorpio being the sign of getting to the emotional depth and to the emotional truth, and then transforming that for the better. So on Wednesday, this is a really interesting day because you may feel torn between what you want and what you need. So, i.e. what's best for you. So the way to decide between the two is to see how many people are going to benefit if you get what you want, and how many people are going to benefit if you get what you need. We always want to get what we want. We don't want what we need. We want what we want when we want it, yesterday and now. So if you're torn between should I do this for myself or should I do this which doesn't feel so great but it's going to help a lot of other people, or if what I want is also going to help a lot of other people, which would be the ideal situation, then go for that. But the way to decide, because you are going to feel a little bit torn today, is to look at both scenarios and to go for the greater good, and to say, I'm going to go with the path and the decision that will lead to the most amount of people benefiting from this, because ultimately if you do that, you will end up getting what you want and what you need. Because if you put other people first and you're a humanitarian, then what you put out, law of the universe, you get back. So if you're helping others, then you will be helped in turn. Thursday, the 8th of February, this is a really random, odd day in the middle of this. And that's why this week is so full on, because it's just like bam, bam, everywhere. So Thursday, the 8th of February, we've got the moon going into Sagittarius at 55 minutes past 1 in the afternoon. The Sagittarius moon conjuncts Mars in Sagittarius. So we've got fire moon, and we've got the red planet of fire and drive and masculinity in fire, so it's all systems go, and it's passion, and it's the element of fire being at its strongest. So on Thursday, you're going to have this huge desire to just break free, to travel, to enjoy yourself, and to be irresponsible, and to throw caution to the wind, and to throw everything up in the air, and to say, I'm not, whatever, I'm going to take this day for myself. So it's interesting because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday have all been about the greater good and what can I do, decide between what I want and need. And you've been really responsible. And it's almost like by Thursday, you're sick of that and you're just like, okay, enough. What actually makes me happy and what do I enjoy? So if you are lucky enough to be retired, or you are a man or a woman of independent means and you don't have to work and you don't have to be responsible, then you can go to the casino and gamble and sit on a yacht and eat caviar and have a mani-pedi or whatever. But if you're like most people and you have responsibilities and you have a job and you can't just say, I'm going on a field trip today, sorry boss, I can't come in, then that's going to cause problems for you. So make sure that you keep that under wraps a little bit, that desire to be irresponsible, and you're aware of it. And the best way to deal with this kind of thing, when this kind of fire just sweeps into your life and says, go and play, go and be irresponsible, go and race your car even. The best way I've found to do that is to, in the morning, to meditate, to connect with my higher power, because that connects you with your higher self and it grounds you in your spiritual truth, and it kind of anchors you to what's good for you. And again, it's a question of what I want and what I need. I want to go be irresponsible and go on a trip and party and things on Thursday. But what I need to do really is go to work so that I can pay my mortgage. So it's that question between wants and needs, and it comes to a head on Thursday. And make sure that you don't, none of us are perfect, and sometimes we make the wrong decision. So don't beat yourself up if you do make the wrong decision. But be aware that Thursday is like that, and that there's the potential for you to throw all responsibility out the window, and just be a little bit cautious about that. Meditate in the morning and try and do the responsible thing. And then in the evening, or if you do have some spare time, then make some space and time for you to enjoy yourself. Then treat yourself to something, Go do something exciting so you can get it out of your system. On Friday the 9th of February, we've got Friday the 9th of February, we've got Mars, the male principle, still being in that fire sign of Sagittarius. It sextiles Mercury in Aquarius, so we've got Mars, the planet of desire, now connecting with the communication planet, which is about, think about the greater good, and it squares Neptune in Pisces, which is about the dream and being of service and having your imagination very powerfully in your consciousness, being intuitive, being self-sacrificing, and thinking about other people. So on Friday, You have dreams and intuitive messages urging you to find information and answers as to why you're here in this lifetime on this planet and what your purpose is. So it's really a weird week. You know, the first 3 days, again, responsible, greater good. Thursday, you can possibly throw your whole life out the window. And then Friday, it's like, why am I here? What's the meaning of life? What's going on? You know, it's very, we don't have these kind of days a lot. Usually Monday to Friday, we go to work and we do what's asked of us. And then we go to Tesco in the evening, we pick up the food and then we make a dinner and da-da-da. But Friday is really a great day to meditate, to research, or to have a reading with someone. You're basically looking for answers on Friday. So that, again, like Thursday, it comes in very powerfully and it's kind of like a wave that distracts you. Like Thursday was a fire sweeping through your life and distracting you in that sense and throwing you off course. Friday is this watery wave coming into your life and distracting you, saying, look at your life. What are you doing? Why are you here? Ignore the job. What's your real purpose? You know, if you're working as a nurse or as a production assistant, you'll sit there and you'll think, what is my real purpose here on earth, and am I doing it? It's going to distract you from work, but it's also really going to open up this whole vista in terms of you understanding why you're here. And if you have that knowledge, then you can do something which is really your true purpose and what you're meant to do. So I know it's a distraction and it's going to be difficult to manage, especially if you have a lot of work on. But ultimately, days like Friday, giving those time and space in your life really help you to get the answers that help you live your best life. Because if you're on your path and you ask the questions and you get the answers, then you can really work in something that fulfills you and that helps other people and that ties everything together. So if you're someone who's unclear about all of that, Friday is your day. So have a reading, meditate, research, do automatic writing, pray about it, whatever gets you the answers. Look at that, there's the potential to get a lot of info. Now, again, Saturday, very interesting. We've got Venus, the planet of love and beauty, going into Pisces. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. It's super self-sacrificing. And Pisces, the astrology is based on the seasons, okay? And the seasons as they are in the northern hemisphere. And Pisces is at the very end of winter. And in the old days, people used to sit in their houses. The food stores would be depleted. You'd sit there with your family. You'd have to pass the time. You'd be snowed in. So you couldn't just argue all the time because you'd have nowhere to run to or escape. So you'd play the piano and you'd tell each other stories, so that imagination and creativity. You could also meditate and really tune in. And that's why Pisces is all about getting in touch with your spiritual side and being creative and getting along with others and being of service with others and loving others. So the planet of love and beauty going into Pisces means that love conquers all. Love is everywhere. We've also got the Aquarius sun, which is about the greater good, squaring Jupiter in Scorpio. So the greater good and acting towards the greater good, bringing good luck into your life via other people and bringing you good ideas when it comes to your emotions and feelings. So if you help someone out, you'll get an insight or an idea that will benefit you in response. So it's like a reward system. So if you do something selfless and you help someone else, your feelings are going to provide you with answers that will support you and help you in your own life. Now on Saturday, you're going to feel the energy of love very, very strongly, and you're going to get the sense that love matters above all else. So you're really into the concept of love. You're feeling love, you're sharing it with other people, but you're also intellectually looking at love as the most important thing. So what that does is that you're going to look around with this sneaky little critical eye, and you're going to look at anyone behaving negatively, so gossiping or sabotaging other people or slandering people or being hypocritical and being dishonest, and you may start to feel justified anger, and you may want to let those people who are being dishonest and insincere feel your wrath. So that's the opposite of love. You're being like the guardian of love, but you're being hateful by being angry towards people who don't behave a certain way. Do you see what I mean? So that's what's weird about this week, is that you feel like, I am responsible for the greater good. I am the moral authority. I am the person who is in charge, and I'm the one who is the guardian and the gatekeeper of human behavior, and you're not. And if you make yourself the guardian of human behavior, one, you're going to be very busy all the time, because people are behaving badly all over the planet right now at this moment and at every second of the day. And also, who are you? You're not perfect. So don't do that to yourself. Don't make yourself this figure of, this is what's right and this is what's wrong, and I decide what's right and wrong. So instead of focusing on your justified and righteous anger, oh, she's such a hypocrite, how could she do that? I'm going to take her down. Focus on love and don't judge, and focus on the people who are in your life who you can love and what you love, and enjoy that, and don't focus on negative people, and just leave them to it. They're going to, fall on their face in their own time, and they're going to come to their senses when they're ready. It's not your job to get anyone ready to behave better or to be more loving or to be more considerate. We're powerless over people, places, and things. We really are. So if someone in your life is a huge phony and a major hypocrite and it drives you up the wall, let it go. You're not going to change that person. So Saturday is a great day for love and romance. You also have that critical eye, so it saves you from falling in love with negative people or people who are unsuitable for you. So Saturday, date night, is a great date night, because there's the potential to really meet someone who's suitable, who's a compatible match. And love is really in the air now. And Venus stays in Pisces for the next 3-4 weeks. So that includes Valentine's Day, which is just kind of highlighting this energy of love at this season, which is what this season is all about. Spring, the end of winter, finding new loves, new connections with people, finding a new way to engage and to express everything you've learned in the winter months, and to share your love with someone else. So focus on it in the good sense, and ignore the people who aren't adhering to your standards of acceptable behavior. It is not your job to be the headmistress or headmaster telling people, no. Okay. Sunday, the 11th of February, we've got the moon moving into Capricorn at 2:22 in the morning. And the Capricorn moon then conjunct Saturn in Capricorn, and it sextiles Neptune and Pluto. So the moon in Capricorn is very grounded. It's practical. It says, okay, what's the plan? Where are we going? How can we make it work? How can we work at achieving this? How can we roll up our sleeves and get things done? How can we get to work? So this is a fabulous day for really being private and spending time by yourself and being introspective, and working on something that's personal to you. So meditating or journaling, writing letters or emails, drawing or escaping into a good book. Just really focusing on something practical that you enjoy on your own, that's very private and personal, and that's a loving personal thing to do for yourself. So maybe it's walking in nature, or taking a bath, or building a little model train set or something. I've heard people do that kind of thing. So whatever it is that is your hobby or that you enjoy, it's a really calm, peaceful, practical day where you have time and space for yourself and you can enjoy. So really use that to do something not trivial, but just enjoyable in the moment, and make yourself feel good, and allow yourself the time to do things that you care about and that you enjoy. And that's really important too. It's the end of the week now of you being the guardian of the greater good and the standards of society, and you've come through the week and you've realized that you are powerless over people. It's taught you that. Even Thursday, when you have this freak out moment of, to hell with all my responsibilities, I'm going to do what I want. Even you can't be beholden to the standards of society all the time, because sometimes you don't want to be responsible as well. So I think that's the lesson here, that it's about giving people a break. None of us are perfect. Giving yourself a break and just practicing good self-care and not being so judgmental of yourself and others. Yeah, that's the lesson. Teacher, teacher. Okay, so that's what I get for you this week. I hope that gives you something to work with. If you'd like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to audio reading. And in my readings, I use astrology, I use the tarot, and I use numerology, and I combine them. So for instance, in the astrology, if your sun is at 25 degrees, I'll say your sun is at 5 degrees, and 5 in numerology represents freedom. So the sign that your sun is in, this is the behavior that's going to give you this feeling of freedom in your life. So that's how I do my astrology interpretations and charts. With the astrology, I use your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. I draw up your chart, which is a blueprint of your soul. It shows me what your life purpose is, why you've come back into this lifetime and what you're here to do. It shows me what you're good at work-wise, what your vocational aptitudes are. And also it shows me what's going on in family, love life, career and communication, money, finances, belongings, travel, living situations, and where's the ideal place to live, health, spiritual progress, friendships, anything at all really, whether you're compatible with another person. I can take 2 charts and compare them. And I can also use the predictive astrology and the tarot to look at what's coming up in all those areas of your life. So what's coming up in your love life over the next couple of months and years, what's coming up in your finances in the future. So if you're interested in looking at any of that, then please get in touch for a private reading. gregoryscott.com, just click on the readings tab to order. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you next week.